Got
Okay.
it.
It's so
Recording, no problem.
All right. So for those who don't know, my name is Shea Ronson. Shea like shea butter. It's spelled like the same way. That's how I get everybody to remember my name. um, so I actually started my Scentsy journey a very long time ago, actually back in 2015, but life was chaotic and I did not know how to juggle everything. I will say that first and foremost, God had other plans for me, so therefore I had to follow them. But I came back June of 2020. So previous to that, I had been like the biggest supporter because like even though I sold before, I was Scentsy obsessed. And like I would drop orders with Chloe all the time. And Chloe's like, just come back. And I was like, not right now. And I worked on a campaign. And if anybody knows anything about campaign life, it's 7 days a week, 12 to like plus hours. And I was like, I can't do that right now. And Chloe's like, well, you could, but you know, I got you, girl, like whenever you're ready. And I left campaign life in the middle of February. And my husband and I had recently just got married. We barely had seen each other at all during that process. And he was like, just take a couple weeks off and just recoup and then go back to work. And I was going to go and do some substitute teaching since it was in the middle of the year, et cetera, et cetera. And as the time started, that I was about to go back to work, our, friendly neighbor, COVID hit, and I got a job at Walmart and I got into a car accident. We were in the middle of purchasing this house. Like, this is a fixer upper. And I was just sitting there like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Like, are we going to lose the house? We're not even going to we're literally signing in a week. And how are we going to be able to afford this? And like my husband's being like, baby, it's okay. Just chill. We'll always figure it out. The kind supporting man that he is, thankfully. And we were outside and I remember watching Chloe's story and he was like, why don't you just join again? Like, just go back to it and make some money off of your purchases. Cause I know you're not going to stop buying. Spending habit is real over here, but he's like, you'll get paid, sell to a couple of family and friends and go from there. And I was like, baby, if I'm going to go back, I'm going back. Like, I'm not playing games this time. Like, I'm coming in and I'm running. And I was like, the reinstatement kit is like $70, like after like tax and shipping and da 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 da. And he's like, okay, like go ahead and call Chloe. And I'm like, okay. Like I did it and I was scared. And like the first thing I did was watch Guided Growth. Like I'm getting like memories because literally this is the 2-year mark of when I joined Scentsy. And right when I joined, we ended up going on a camping trip for like a week. That was when like the Stitch originally launched and I had no cell service. Either way, I sat down and I worked. Like I texted all my friends and I didn't even give them an option. I was like, hey, I just started selling Scentsy again and I need you to host a party. Like you'll get free and half off Scentsy. If you've never used Scentsy, we're going to teach you all about it. But I need you to help me grow my clientele base. And literally 80% of them were like, okay, we'll do this. And so I went back to teaching and COVID teaching was definitely difficult to say the least back in 2020, 2021. And then I had to get my master's to continue teaching. And I'm thinking I'm Superwoman over here, right? Like I can literally just handle it all. And honestly, I thought I was going to be able to handle it all. And that being said, I had a new admin this year. The master's program was no joke. And by September, I was drowning of 2021. I could not breathe. I was like, there's no way I can do all this. Like, there's way too much going on. I was like waking up 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, y'all, getting home from teaching around 5:30, 6 o'clock. And then that's not even if I had class that night. Then I had class from 5 to 8, and those were in person. And that's not even including the classwork for the master's program. And I'm like, Chloe, I don't think you understand. Like, I don't have time. Like, I'm already going to sleep at like 10, 11 o'clock at night. Like, I don't have time. Like, I can't do this. And then at the very end of September, October, I got COVID. And I lost my sense of smell. And while I had COVID, mind you, I was not recuperating. I still had to turn in lesson plans. I still had to grade, answer student emails, turn in my homework assignments. And like, I didn't have no time to rest. And I also lost my sense of smell. And fall is my favorite season. Okay. Give me that cedar cider. Give me that Christmas cottage. Give me all the new releases. Give me the breaks. Give me everything. And I don't know how I managed it, but in October, I hit 2K. Like, I was always hitting 2K, but I was barely hitting 2K after like a certain period of time. And I told myself at the beginning of like 2021, I'm gonna hit 2K every single like month this year. Well, November hit and I went into a really bad depression. My job was tolling in so many ways. I mean, like I said, I was working all the time. All the time. There was no time for break. I was still not even seeing my family. I was still not doing anything. In December, I broke down. Like, my whole Scentsy room was covered in boxes because I was still buying all the LTOs because like if y'all don't notice, I'm Disney obsessed over here. Like, so that partnership, like child, that was insane. So, but I wasn't doing anything. I was just tossing the boxes in there. I'll get my club membership, toss it in there. Get a couple bars that I think I was going to like whenever my sense of smell came back and toss it in there. And I went to a friend who was also in the same county, different school. And I was just like, I can't do this. Like, I have lost my way. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm so lost. And also at this point, my husband, Adam, was like, baby, just leave teaching. Like, we'll figure it out. But since he brings you joy, like, he knew, like, he's always said, you're going to be a superstar director. And look, we can say that we're going to sit here and come home. We can sit here and say that we're going to be, director, superstar director. We're going to make all this money. And we can say it, but there's always that like little thought in the back of our head, like, there ain't no way. Like, that negativity will start eating at you. And my friend was like, what brings you happiness? Like, and like, before I could even respond, she's like, I'll watch your lives whenever you do open packages and stuff like that. And you see the smile, the joy, like the hyperness, like you get, like all of that. Like, is it Scentsy? Like, do you want to get back in campaign life? Like, I was like, no, it's Scentsy. Like, it's all of it. It's the community. It's all of that. But I was also not a good leader at that point. Your girl was barely hanging on. I didn't know how to lead. And that's like a whole nother situation in itself. But so in December, I spent a whole week cleaning out my office and my Scentsy workroom because we're blessed to have like both. And my husband even bought me a bookshelf so I could start putting my books up so they weren't scattered on the floor. And I said, okay, I'm gonna do this. And I started watching lives. I was not gonna go to World Tour, y'all. I was like, it's too late. I was still kind of like in that depressive episode. And something was like, Shea, just do it. Like, just do it. So I signed up last minute World Tour. And I got on it. Like, Chloe was like, let's get on a coaching call. And we were talking and she was like, so how far away are you from annual sales? And I was like, Chloe, I honestly stopped tracking it. I didn't even hit 2K in November or December. Like, there's no way. Like, I was literally going to have to sell about $4,000 a month to be able to hit annual sales. And I was like, Chloe, I barely hit 2,000. Like, there's no way. And Chloe's like, you got this. Like, you're going to come to World Tour. You're going to do all this stuff. And I was starting to implement some of the stuff and I was starting to do some more parties, but my community kind of lost faith in me because even though I would still do lives here and there, I was not consistent and they knew I wasn't consistent. Don't get me wrong. I still spoiled them to death as much as I could, but they knew, like, she's not taking this business seriously. She's not posting every day like she used to. She's not like reaching out to me all the 9 yards, y'all. I was not staying in touch with my community. I literally reached out to somebody who was in the hospital about to give birth and asked her to host a party. And I did not know that. Like, real talk. Embarrassing as all get out. Like, I was like, oh my God, like, I can't, like, what am I doing wrong? So I got a new recruit and she was also a reinstatement. Funny thing enough, half my team is reinstatements and they're killing it. So if you're a reinstatement, don't think you can't do it. But she's like, so what's this about World Tour? And I was like, well, girl, the deadline already passed, but let me see. Cause Chloe was doing her own little thing and Chloe's like, bring her. And like, she brought it up on her own. And I said, okay, well, we'll go together and all this other stuff. And I went to World Tour and I was sitting there And I was listening and I was like, something really has to change. Like I was starting to do the work, but it didn't click yet, if that makes sense. And I finally got paid at Title. No, I didn't even get paid at Title in January. I got paid as a lead consultant, even though I was a star consultant who had not been paid at Title in over 6 months. And I got lead consultant in January. And then in February, I took away the daily power hour from Amy. I bought the planner that we had on Workstation, which there's like a PDF different version of it. So you can definitely find that. I know it's not on Workstation anymore. I started recording my numbers daily because I needed to see if I was moving or not. And honestly, like the first couple of days, like I would get a couple orders and then I wouldn't get a couple orders the next couple of days. And I would get a couple orders and then I wouldn't get a couple orders. And that started to really motivate me. So in February, I actually ended up promoting to superstar consultant by the skin of my teeth. Like I was $800 away. And I was like messaging my team, like, y'all, we're so close. Like, this is so crazy. Like my whole goal was to be director by June before I left teaching. And I posted in my community page, like I VIP page, sorry. I call it like my community because they're my people. They show up when I need them. And I was like, y'all, I'm $800 away. And I started like messaging a whole bunch of people. And literally less than like, honestly, 6 hours, we sold that $800 and I promoted to superstar because I had started building those relationships and really getting to know my people. And then in March, which y'all know, March was fantastic. We had all the things going on in March. I had all the parties. Like I was on top of it. And I was like asking people like, hey, I really need you to book a party. Like I was kind of going back to that like first couple of months mindset. Like I need you to book a party because I need to grow my clientele base. But if we get $200 in sales, like you're going to earn free and half off Scentsy. So they all showed up. And so somehow from December of barely hitting $1,000 in sales, I went to promoting to director in March. And my why was, of course, I needed to leave teaching. Like it was such an unhealthy habitat. I needed the community and I didn't know that yet. Like I was kind of like finding my way in this business and it's difficult, y'all. So I started waking up versus like 4:30 a.m. at 3 a.m. I would wake up and I would get ready. And then I would come sit down with my cup of coffee. I would like go throw like a frozen chicken biscuit in the microwave and I record my numbers and I would schedule my party post. I'm like, yes, I'm getting less sleep. There were some nights, y'all, I was getting 2 to 4 hours of sleep, but I was like, I have a goal and I need to hit it. Like there is no stopping at this point. Like I need this. I need to come home. I have to make some sacrifices. And I feel like that's the key word that we don't talk about much, or I don't hear a lot of leaders talk about, is the sacrifice portion. Like, I know when I would tell Chloe, like, I don't have time, she's like, you have to make time. And it just didn't like connect to me. Like, girl, you're going to have to sacrifice sleep. You're going to have to sacrifice a couple events here and there, but you're going to have to make that sacrifice. Because if you do not move, and that's my word for this year, you're not going to make it. I was living in this comfortable bubble. Like if I had too much stuff going on that day, Scentsy would get pushed on the back burner. And guess what always got pushed on the back burner? Because I had something would always hit the fan. Scentsy. And it took like really realizing like I need to come home. April was a tough month for me. Like I had parties booked, but it wasn't going that well. And I don't know if it was because it was such a great month the previous month, but I turned around and in May, somehow, and I never thought I would ever sell this much, y'all. Like, and I'm not saying this to brag or anything like that. My community knew I was leaving teaching. Like, I was like, y'all, I'm leaving teaching. Like, I'm scared. I told them it's scary to finally like be like, I'm leaving this stable job to work from home, where you know that like inflation's a thing right now. Like we're having to battle that on top of that. That being said, and also gas prices, we did over $7,000 in sales last month. Like, and that's because I built this relationship with my community. They knew what was happening. They knew I was coming home. They like my VIP page is more than just, hey, here's all the new products. Hey, check this out. Like, hey, open this box with me. It's something's wrong with our community. Let's come together and help them. It's, hey, life is not always sunshine and rainbows. My community knew a lot more than anybody else does. They knew more than my stories, like, because I use my stories a lot. They knew more than anything. And I think that was really huge, is because there's so many Scentsy consultants out there. So many. And I'm not saying that our field is saturated, because clearly we all three promoted within the last year, right? We're all really busting our tail. So I see all these wonderful people promoting. It's not that it's saturated. You have to make that connection with your team, and you have to make that connection with your community and your customers, because if you don't, why are they showing up and purchasing from you? Like, what's that difference? Like, I mean, and this is not to sound funny, but I've had people join me whose best friend sells, but they don't show up. I had people purchasing from me because their sister sells, but she barely posts anything, and she loves the happy mail packages I give. She loves the fact that I check in with her. Like, whenever I message my customers, it is not always within the intent to either buy, host, join. It's, or club at this point. It's the intent of, hey girl, how you doing? There's going to be times where the conversation never touches Scentsy. It is just about us. It's about, like, what is going on with you? What is, like, I just want to know, like, how are you doing? How is all this, what is going on in life? How is inflation? How's gas prices, like, getting you, right? How's the baby? Like, I saw, oh my gosh, girl, you just had surgery. Are you okay? Like, is there anything I can do for you? And I feel like that's another thing. The statement, is there anything I can do for you, is huge. And your community needs to know that, and you have to continuously show up. So like I said, like, my numbers daily. Before I walk out that door, all my party posts are scheduled. Amy knows this, because the last week, I had a whole bunch of stuff going on, and I can't do anything because I have like 5 parties going on right now, and I'm messing up, and I feel like I'm chaotic. But I still did it before I did. And after I did it, I felt great, because all that was handled, and I could focus on other items in my business. I've also worked heavily on building my club, 2 to 3 clubbers. Like, so this, like, incentive, I'm like, oh, I got this. I already got 2. I just need to get 1 more. It's easy for me because that was already in my, like, monthly goals, was my club subscriptions. And that's how I got right now. I have leadership pay in my club, 500. And there's going to be a day where it's going to be 2K, to where I only have to worry about parties and, like, my team. And that's my goal. But my biggest thing, I feel like that's changed my business and is my why, is, like, my community. I am a very antisocial person. I have social anxiety out the yin yang. And I was like, there ain't no way I can do this. Like, I have to go and be social. I have to do these lives. Like, that's scary. Like, I'm self-conscious, like, super self-conscious. Like, and I was like, you have to push past that. Everybody has stuff going on in their life. Everybody has something that they're insecure about. So that all being said, I feel like I'm a little all over the place, but your why has to be big enough to move you. You have to be willing to make sacrifices, and you have to stop thinking of your customers as a paycheck, because they're more than that. Like, you also have to stop thinking as your team as a paycheck. They don't owe you anything. Like, you've blessed them with this, like this opportunity, but their success in this business is not about you. It's about them. It's about what they do to choose to show up. So I feel like that's my spiel. If I forgot anything, let me know. um, so other than that, I think, Amy, you can take it away.
Yeah. No, I don't think you missed anything. I think you did amazing. And I'm literally going to say what I used to hear other leaders say all the time. Now I have to go after that.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, oh gosh. So my name is Amy McLaurin. It is spelled AMY, not AMI, like our app. So don't get them confused. But I am the director of Wax Nerds, and I started Scentsy in September of 2019. I had never used Scentsy before joining. I was not the addict that was excited about doing anything. I actually hit the go, and then I was like, what did I do? Why did I do this? especially because within 24 hours, my sponsor and I chit chatted for a few minutes, and it was book your first party, book your launch party. And I was like, a party? I was like, I don't want to do partying. That was not what I wanted to do. And I didn't know how to do an online party. I didn't know how to do that yet, because that really wasn't slapped into everyone's face until COVID. So I was like, well, an in-home party just seemed like a really crazy thing to try to do. And I was like, I don't know how to do this. So for the first 10 days of joining Scentsy, I didn't push it. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. And I had the perfect pumpkin pear wax bar was the scent of the month that month. And I had that wax bar in my purse. And at one point I was at work and I took that wax bar and I walked around. I used to work in a large branch that had like 400 employees. So I walked around to all the departments, because even though I can be an introvert, when I'm in my comfort zone, I'm an extrovert. So everybody in the other departments knew who I was. And I let everybody smell that wax bar. And by the end of the day, I had $200 in orders. I hit shooting star by the bare skin on my teeth. And I was like, okay, well, if I can do that, then I'm sure I can get 500 more and get just certified. Like, I'll figure it out. And I ended up getting certified. And then, so because I joined in the fall, if y'all are new to Scentsy, or if haven't had your fall season yet, wait until fall, because oh my gosh, this is why we're doing all of this, because fall is going to slap you in the face. It's crazy. So November so I'm trying to remember, September and October were awesome months. November was pretty good, but then December we had like a skirt because COVID hit China. And then January, COVID hit in the United States. And then all of a sudden it was, the world is shut down and you got to figure it out. You can't do bag parties anymore. You can't do in-home parties anymore. No one's going to work right now. And I was like, how do I do this? So I started learning how to do online parties, because I was like, I don't know how to do this. And it was a sonic boom with our teams, just out of nowhere. I went from a certified consultant to a superstar consultant in like 4 months. And I was like, whoa. And it was amazing. I loved it. But that was when I started seeing what this could do. I started seeing paychecks that were paying my mortgage. I started seeing paychecks that were covering car payments and phone bill, internet bill, water bill, power bill. I'm trying to name off all of our bills that we pay. Like, I was like, okay. I initially joined to pay my student loan payment, which was like not quite $300 a month. So, and that's because it's income based. So I was like, if I can just make $300 a month, I'll be okay. My first paycheck was $350. And I was like, okay, like it's one less stress I had to think about. And I mean, it's smelly stuff. That's my love anyway. I loved all my smelly stores. So it got to be easier and easier. Well, then we had our sonic boom, our team grew, and my whole large office shut down, but my department didn't. My lovely department had to go into work every day. And it got really stressful, because every other day somebody was coming into the office saying, I've been exposed, I'm wearing my mask, just stay away. And I'm like, we're going to end up so sick. So that was the summertime. I got furloughed with my company because the company shifted and the other profitable departments weren't doing good. Our travel departments. So they furloughed me in the department that I worked in, because they could only pay the salaries of 2 of the employees. Well, I had to collect unemployment because I had to pay for my insurance. My company required us to do that. Well, here I am on unemployment, sitting at home working on Scentsy, and my eyes were opened so quickly. I was home for 6 weeks. My daughter was going to daycare. My husband was going to work, because he didn't work from home either. He worked outside of the house. And I was like, yo, this is heaven. if I can make this happen, this is heaven. So I was home for 6 weeks, and then my boss calls and says, hey, I need you to come back Monday. Went into straight full panic attack, blues, everything. I mean, the depression was just a slap in the face. Went back to work for a week, went on a week vacation. And while Aaron and I were on the week-long vacation, I was so devastated that I had to go back to work. Like, oh, y'all, I was crying. Like every other day, I was just crying. And he's like, well, you know, if we can figure out this section of bills, we can make it work. We'll make it work. And I went back to work for 3 days and got COVID. But I didn't get to be home and recover. My company said, oh, whoops. Well, you can work from home. That's all right. You can work from home. So my husband was upstairs, quarantined away from us because he tested positive first. I was taking care of a baby, trying to take care of the house, working full time, and working Scentsy. For 2 weeks, I was solo on everything because he had to be quarantined for, I think it was 10 or 12 days. I don't remember how many days they told us. It was miserable, y'all, miserable. And that was in September of 2020. I went back to work 2 weeks later and put in my notice. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm home. I got my paycheck in October. And it paid all of our bills. It paid all of our bills. It paid mortgage. It paid all the household bills. It paid for gas. It paid for groceries. It was like, I can do this. I can do this. The longer you're with Scentsy, the longer you're going to learn. That was the highest paycheck of the year for me. Because October is wonderful. November is usually pretty good. But then December, we have the couple of months. All sales go through this. You're going to go through your ups and downs, ups and downs. But I put my notice in and I quit the day before my last day of AAA. That's where I worked. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I said it anyway. Was the day before Thanksgiving of 2020. I have been home with my baby since. And my why has shifted. I didn't have the community at my job, at that job. I didn't have people. I had people, but I didn't have people. Like, I miss the going down to the break room and getting a cup of coffee and seeing the 5 or 6 people in there in the morning and being like, hey, y'all, good morning. But that was it. There was no community. I did make friends there, but you know, it's ironic. It's not really ironic, but it's interesting that Scentsy has been able as a team and through my VIP, but as my team, the community, all of my friends that I worked with at that full-time job, most of them are on my team. Most of them, we work together with Scentsy and we love on Scentsy together. So when I was able to leave that job, I was just like, you know, I'm going to miss a couple of people, but sayonara. So long, bye. And I don't miss it. I do not miss it. But I get to be home with my daughter. And Scentsy, this is not something I ever thought that I would get to be able to have, to be able to wake up and kind of do what I want to do. And when I worked that full-time job outside of my house, you feel stuck. You do. You feel stuck. Like, I can't go anywhere. I don't have time to look for something else. I'm giving this company all of my time, and it wasn't working for me. And it's just different. It's so different. I was telling Shea, my cousin passed away in November. I am super close to that side of the family. And I've actually had 2 deaths in the family in the last few years. When my grandfather passed away, Scentsy sent flowers. My job didn't send flowers. My full-time job didn't send flowers. I had a whole department of people, and not one person said, by the way, Amy has a huge loss in her family. Let's send something to the funeral home. But Scentsy did. somebody with Scentsy sent them. And when my cousin passed away, this past November, not one person from that full-time job that's not part of my Scentsy, nobody said anything or commented on it or anything. But my Scentsy community, I mean, everybody was like, oh my gosh, let us know if you need anything. Let us know if you need help with anything. One of my teammates kept HG, that's my daughter, kept HG for me for a day so that I could go and help my aunt do what she needed to do. I actually had two Scentsy girls, teammates, help with that. Like a community of help in all different ways, whether it's what's going on in your life, what's going on in your Scentsy business. If you're struggling with like PRV, or you're struggling with team numbers, or if you're wanting to build a team and you're wanting to recruit, but you're not sure where, like there's a whole community out there. And that's what we're trying to do with this. That's what we're trying to do with this, is build that community and build something so that there's excitement and there's drive and there's motivation and there's want to do this. Because at the end of the day, Shea knows this too. I think Samantha does too. Your why should make you cry. It should make you really get into what you're trying to do. I'm not going to cry, but my why really is, y'all, I have met some of my best friends through Scentsy, and some relationships that I have with teammates and customers is because of Scentsy. And as much as, yes, it needs to pay my bills, by gosh, it does need to keep our financials stable. It's more than just the money for me. It's more than the money. The three of us leave for SFR next week, and I know we all like, all of us like, we are so excited. And to be quite honest, I haven't been this excited about something in a long time. It's been a long time. And some people might think, well, you're a stay-at-home mom. Now I'm a work from home mom. But there's a lot of stuff going on in my life. My husband travels a lot. My husband is freaking going to Germany next month. Must be nice. I'm just kidding. But like, he goes and he does his thing, and I kind of go and I do my thing. And I'm like excited to get to go and see people that we've not seen in a while, and to get to see this real Scentsy, true Scentsy, like excitement, because none of us have gotten to see that really. I don't think so. I've been to one SFR, or not one SFR. I've been to one world tour that was Scentsy, and that was in 2020. That was February of 2020. And it was fun. It was in Raleigh. It was fun. It was for like half a day. I didn't have a team then. I didn't have a team. Aaron went with me. That's my husband. He went with me, and we were sitting there in the seats, just listening to all these directors walk across the stage. And I was like, I want to be up there one day. And he was like, okay, what do you want to do? How do you want to do that? And I was like, I have no idea. I don't know. And so I remember saying, like, I want to be there. And we did a group photo with the larger team that we're all part of. And I am by myself in that photo, totally by myself. And I'm just so excited that there's something that has been built over these last few years that's so much more than I could have ever expected. Because that first world tour, I was like, I want to be like these people, but I'm not like those people. I'm me. And so over the last few years, I've been focusing on trying, that's my word of the year, by the way, focus is my word of the year. Focusing on doing and creating the community, the trust, and like so many things have come out of Scentsy that I can put into so many words and literally run circles. But that's what we're doing here. That's what we're doing. We're trying to build the community, and we're trying to help you guys build the community with your VIP pages and your teams, and take away and add and get to focus on what Scentsy can do for you and create your why. If you don't know your why, this is the chance and the opportunity this week to be able to really narrow it down, because my why has changed over the last 3 years. It's totally changed. So Yeah. Samantha, it's your turn. What's your why?
Okay. So what got me was I've actually been with it since 2016. I did not join with any intent of ever sitting here with a group of people. Like, at the time, I'm not going to go into super detail, keep it short and sweet. My ex sister-in-law was like, I was buying from her and she's like, oh, just join. And I was like, okay, whatever. Signed up. And I was like, okay, whatever. This is not really. She's like, are you gonna have a party? No, I ain't having a party. I ain't doing that. I ain't posting. I ain't doing any of that. So I just sold to buy for myself because I was like, okay, between me, a couple friends, my mom, $200 every 3 months, or what was it, 3 or 4 months back then. And so I was like, no big deal. I got this. Well, then she became an ex sister-in-law, and I was like, I'm out. Like, I ain't, you know, whatever. We'll keep it at that. And I started buying from Chastity because she's local to me and I followed her, and I just was like, oh, I'm going to buy from her. She gives me free stuff. That's cool. So I was just a good customer. And then in the meantime of that, though, I had talked to Chloe before I went inactive, because I knew Chloe just from high school and stuff. And she knew I was under her, but she knew I didn't really sell. And so before I went inactive, she was like, yeah, there's nothing you can do. You can't change the sponsor. It is what it is. And so, um, that's when I decided just to, like I said, I went inactive for a while. And sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to, there you go. Went inactive, started buying from another girl. I saw how she treated her customers and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then they partnered with Disney and I was spending all this money, and the time came back because at that time you had to be inactive for 3 months. And so I was like, I don't want to join under Chloe because I don't want to I said, I don't want to be bothered. I thought that she was going to be one of those people that's like, oh, you have to. And I was like, I ain't doing that. So I went and rejoined under one of my friends that I knew forever. And I was like, oh, I ain't never going to not be her friend. So I just joined, didn't tell nobody. And I was still under Chloe. And long story, I just started gradually picking up and I was like, oh, okay, I might want to do this better. Cause then I started that's when stories and stuff, everybody started posting in their Facebook stories, and I was watching Chloe and Chastity and a few others. And I was like, well, these girls are the same. They're from Fayetteville. I'm from Fayetteville. Like, why can't, if they're doing it and making all this money, why can't I? And so I just started trying to sell a little bit more. And like I said, nobody trained me. I didn't have anybody above me because my friend didn't really sell. She was just doing it, same thing, to buy from herself. And then one day, my numbers started getting a little higher, and Chloe actually reached out to me. She's like, hey, so I see you're working, do you want to chat? And I was like, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what you mean. I don't know. And so I was like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. And then she started asking me all these questions, and I was like, I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't know. She's like, well, I mean, what do you want in life? And I was like, I don't know. She's like, okay, well, that's your first problem. She's like, you need to have goals. She's like, I know you're married, you have 2 kids, you work, you need goals. And I was like, oh, okay. And it hit me. And I was like, I mean, I'm not saying my life was perfect by no means, but in my mind, we had a house, I have a car, I have a pool, I have all these things. I was like, I don't know, I don't have goals. What do you mean? And that hit me. And so I was like, okay, but when she started saying, what do you really want? You have to have a reason. You're doing all the things, but she's like, I think you just need more. And so when she said that, that's when it hit me. And I was like, okay, so yeah, I have a house, I have a pool, but don't you want to do more things to your house? And I was like, okay, yeah, my kitchen floor has black and white tile floor. No offense to nobody if y'all have floor like that. And I was like, okay, yeah, I want to do remodels. And my husband is just not a spender. He's the money saver. He's like, we ain't got no money. We ain't doing anything. And I was like, no, we need to do all the things. So I was like, well, if I make extra money, maybe he'll see it and, you know, not care what I decide to do with the kitchen floors and stuff. So like I said, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So I'm just here to say I'm winging it, just watching all the people do all the things. I watch a lot of trainings and they always say, if you want to be successful, you need to watch and do what the successful people are doing. And I tell my girl, Katie, all the time, Katie joined under me, what did she say, like 8 months ago? And I just tell her, like, I literally have no idea what they're doing. And just like Shea said, Chloe talked to me a while back. She's like, I'm telling you, you can sit here and say all day long, you don't have time. Because I'll tell y'all might not know, I have 2 kids. They are 12 months and 2 weeks apart. Okay. Yes. So not just 2 under 2, they were literally a year apart. Okay. So I'm the queen of, I don't have time. I have 0 time. My husband even when I first really started picking back up, which was, I had my baby in 2020, right when COVID happened in May. So I really started selling probably in 2019, like after I had my first son. That's what it was. I'm a hairdresser and I cut my hours at work because I was like, well, I want my kid to, you know, I want to work. My intent is I'm not going to quit my job. Maybe one day if I really, you know, get up there, but I like what I do. I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. I like going to work, but I do feel like if you get to a certain point, this needs to be, you have to have time to do this and be successful. So, I cut my hours and I wasn't making all the money that I was used to making and used to spending because I'm a spender. And that's when I was like, well, I mean, I do sell Scentsy, so I could just start trying to do what those people that I follow are doing and maybe something will come of it. And it's like I said, I had no idea how to build a team. I didn't know anything. I had a friend that was like, hey, I just joined Scentsy under you. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. She was one of my best friends and she was buying from me. She's like, oh, I just signed up. And I was like, okay. I didn't know what I was doing. And then same thing, like I hit, like you, Amy said, superstar pretty fast whenever I started picking up, and I had no idea what I was doing, had no idea how I got there. I didn't have systems. So like I'm telling you, a hot mess express over here, no idea what I'm doing. So even now I'm still trying to that's why I'm glad I'm teaming up with Shea, because Shea seems to be like a system person, knows what she's doing. So you got to find your people that are willing to help you. That's another thing. I told Katie one day to reach out and find, I mean, we're friends. She works at the church where my kids go to daycare and stuff, but like somebody that's not me, like find somebody that's on your level that you can, y'all all want the same thing. So if you're a lead consultant and you want to be, you know, a star, find somebody at your same level that's gonna y'all are gonna push each other, which I did before I teamed up with these girls. I do have another friend that we were at the same, and we actually both hit director at the same month, me and the other Samantha. So that was cool. Like we were trying to do all the same things. But yeah, I'm telling you, don't be like me. You need to have systems. Don't do it because, and even Chloe, when I talked to her, she's like, you got to get it organized. Because like, y'all, I'm a hot mess in here. And that's another thing. Like you said, I redid my whole office. This office was a disaster. It was gross. It was purple. And I had boxes and just random stuff everywhere. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I told my husband, I was like, I want a space. I want my space. I want cute little shelves. I want stuff to be cute. And I want to be in here. So I redid my office and got everything kind of together. And like I said, I still don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just doing it, y'all. But I had to find the time. And like Chloe was like, you have to find the time. If you don't let your 5-year goals interfere with your, I don't know the wording she used, but something about your 5-year plan, you have to make, like you said, sacrifices today, whether that be staying up late, getting up early. And it all made sense because I was the queen of excuses too when it came to like eating healthy, working out, and things like that. I tell people too, you'll find the time if it's something that you want. I didn't want to be fat anymore, so I got up early and I changed my diet and I made it happen. So it's the same thing with your business. So it's just your mindset. You literally have to shift your mindset from I'm not going to do something to I'm going to do it. And it literally works. I did Weight Watchers for a while, and everything I keyed my points, and I was like, yeah, no, I can't eat that. That's way too many points. So same thing, like, don't watch Netflix, go and do something that's gonna make you money. So it's literally just that. And then, like I said, I was following those other people. My favorites were obviously Chloe and Chastity, and there was one others, and I was just watch their stories. I didn't want to be them. I never wanted to be them, but I was just like, they're literally, all they're doing is showing every day what they're doing. They're just showing their lives. It's 2022. People are nosy. They want to watch. They want to see what you're doing. And they're just nosy. So I was like, I'm not going to show my face. I'm not going to do any of that. You're not going to catch me in my stories. And then one day I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll just like show doing something and not show my face. And then maybe I'll talk. And then I sat there and I watched and listened to myself like 20 times before I posted it. And finally I was like, good Lord, I ain't got time for that. Like, okay, if I'm going to do it, who cares? I really don't care what people think. When you let that go, you just gotta let that go. Just don't care what people think. Y'all, I'll be on there with my hair in a hot mess, no makeup. It does not matter, because you know what? They don't care. They don't care what you look like. And I got all that from, and now I have bats. Yeah, y'all, I have bats in my wall, and I talk about it, and people want to know about it. I have bats in this wall right here, y'all. And you just talk and share these random stupid things, and then people message you. And then, like Shea was saying, like, get to know these people. Don't just, I mean, I know there's plenty of people out there that cold shoulder message people. Hey, do you want to buy Scentsy? Or, hey, I don't do that. I don't like that. I think it's weird. I had random girl message me literally the month after I hit record. Hey, I just joined Scentsy. Do you want to buy something from me and help me? Girl, like, where it is all over my social media that I sell Scentsy. What are you doing? And I felt bad for her that, like, she was doing that. So don't be like that. I was, yeah. I'm a squirrel too, so I'm all over the place, y'all. But I was watching these people, and same thing like you said about the paycheck, and Chloe had talked about it before too. When you get that paycheck, and everybody's that paycheck is different. It could have been $500, it could have been $1,000, like whatever that paycheck is for you, that you're just like, whoa, wait, I can make money with this? Okay. Yeah, I don't even remember. I think I made like, I don't know, $1,000 one day, and I was like, whoa, okay. I mean, these people talk about making 10, 12, 10, $1,000 a month. And I'm like, that would be cool, but I'm good with the thousand, I was good with that. And so I was like, maybe again, if they're doing it, why can't I? And then so I just started sharing everything I was doing. If I'm making my bed, like Chastity and them were doing, I started making my bed and spraying my bed, talking about it, telling how awesome it is. And then same thing that they always say, if y'all see me in there, I'm gonna post a selfie. I'm gonna post a selfie with the product, and I don't care what people think, because they want to see you. They want to see you using the product. And that was just what really started that. That's when my business like grew, and I was hitting that 2,000 PRV every month, because, and I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't a huge partier. Like, I don't have 8-10 parties a month. I have maybe like 3 or 4, but I'm still hitting that 2,000 off of those parties, because they're just really good parties. And so once I started hitting that 2,000, then started getting a bigger team, then I was getting more money, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Okay, I'm in. I see it. I want to do it. And like I said, I just started watching those SSDs and what they were doing. And then it went from watching just 2 of them to now I follow like 10 good ones, and just watching what they do. Like I said, I ain't copying nobody. I don't want to like copy and paste and post, because we all know that's annoying. And I get annoyed if I see somebody literally copying and pasting my stuff. So I don't want to do it to nobody. But I just like their ideas. Obviously, they know what they're doing because they're there. They're already at the top. So that was what I did. I just started following what they were doing. I'm like, okay, all they're doing is sharing their life. They're sharing it. They're sharing their kids. just talking about stuff, making polls, asking people, do you like pineapple on pizza? You know, just like engaging in it, getting to know people. Random people message me on there. And then it leads to whenever I say something like, hey, I got grab bags. Does anybody want one? Random people that never bought from me, but because we chit chat on there, they're like, hey, I want to buy from you. Or, oh my God, I see you're really close to winning that Alaska cruise. I want to buy, I'll buy from you. And I'm like, okay, I haven't talked to you in 10 years since high school, but thank you. And it's just because they follow you. They're excited for you. When you're excited about something, people want to support you. I listened to a training one day too from, I don't even remember who it was. So I can't quote anybody, but they said, why would people want to buy from Quiet Quinn when they can buy from Proud Pam? And that just like stuck with me. I was like, but it makes sense. Like when you're genuinely excited about something that you love the product, you know, you're talking about it, you love the product, you love the business, you love everything about it. People want to support you. They want to buy from you. When you say, I'm really close to hitting this goal, they're like, oh, I want to help her. I want to help her. Versus the Quiet Quinn that only makes a random stock photo post and doesn't post anything about winning anything. So that made sense. And so when I started doing things like that, it worked for me, and that just grew my business too. I don't know. What else are we supposed to talk about? Is that it?
So me being me, I took a couple notes. Like I wanted to add like tidbits at the end, but yeah, you did phenomenal. Y'all both did phenomenal stuff.
I don't even I guess that was, and like I said, that was my why. I guess I didn't even say a why, did I?
Well, I mean, you did. It was kind of like embedded in the storyline, if that makes sense.
Like I said, I guess when Chloe was talking about the goals and stuff, and then the why, I mean, like everybody, my why, my kids, just to give my kids a better life and stuff. Yeah, I have personal things that I like to keep up with. I got to get my Botox done. I got to pay for my fake hair. All those things that like, because I was working less, I didn't want to tell my husband, hey, I need money for my Botox. And he'd be like, no, I don't have to tell him.
Right. I tell it to teens all the time. Like, you would be so surprised how many people I see on social media that are like, I can't buy this. I can't do this because my husband will be like, oh, and I'm like,
yeah, and
you need to get yourself Scentsy.
I didn't want to have to ask him for that.
Yeah.
You know? And so when I started getting that little bit of extra money, I was like, okay, so I can work less and still do the things that I want. But yeah, I mean, I'm a money driver. So it's not just about, like I said, it's not just about the money, but when I saw the money, I was like,
absolutely.
Okay, that's enough for me. Like, I want to do all these things and be able to, you know, not have to, and like I said, I guess another thing with the why, I always thought a why had to be a sob story.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be. Because like you said, it just doesn't have to. But like when I always thought about it, I was like, oh, all these people are like, oh, poor me. No, it doesn't have to be a poor me. It's why. Right. You don't have, and I was trying to tell my girls that your why doesn't have to be, oh, I left an abusive husband, or a single mom. Like, you don't have to have a sob story. You can be perfectly happy and content with where you are. You just find something, like you said, that drives you to want more. And so then I'm a money. I need all these things.
Yes. And I know like Adam would be like, where are you getting all this money to buy the stuff from? Mind your business, sir. I'm just, the bills are handled, mind your business. And I think that was my biggest issue, because for the longest time, and not trying to make it a sob story whatsoever, like my husband and I tried to have children. Like, and I was sitting here kind of like, well, like I want this. I think I want this. And it was really like a whole different scenario. But I was like, I don't have children. Like, what is going to motivate? Like, I can't be like, hey, like, I really want to take my baby to Disney. Yeah. Like, no, I have a bougie lifestyle that I was born bougie, and I have to try to upkeep that lifestyle. I was born to travel the world without the money to do so at the time. Now, you know, I have that capability, and that's like my biggest thing. Cause I was like, again, I don't like everybody else like has children, and I felt like everybody would look at me and they'd be like, well, you have time. You don't have kids. No, baby. Like I'm a full-time teacher. I'm like getting my master's. We got a fixer upper. I got a husband. I got family. I didn't see, like, I worked 2 jobs and put myself through school.
And I'll piggyback off of that. Yeah. Cause I was all over the place. When I was saying I have 2 kids that are a year apart, that's when I started working this business. How did y'all, I'm telling you, I didn't have time, but now that I have a 3 and 2-year-old they're nuts. I love them, but they're exhausting. So like I do only have like certain times that I can work than like selling and stuff on social, like on the back side of it, but like actually like working in the office, I don't have a lot of time, but it is like at night or whatever. And so like I got the whole, like, I don't have time. You can't tell me I don't have time.
That was my biggest thing.
My husband's not home. He's gone 3 to 4 nights a week in Raleigh, and I'm here, and literally you can't tell me nothing. Like, I don't have the time, but you have to make time. You make time for what's important to you. And like I said, mine are still really little. So I was doing this when they were newborn and 1. Like, that's when I really like started doing all the things. So I get that you don't have time.
Yeah. And I think one, like 2 things I forgot to mention, and Amy kind of said that whenever she was spelling her name, and I was like, crap. When it came to really changing my business, and I know I like hit on it just quickly, it was really daily power hour, which is why instead of like posting like the maintenance, like make sure you record your numbers on the daily power hour. I'm just going to cover up the names just because I am who I am. Like you have to write down your goal each day. You have to write down where you're at. You have to write down if your team's recruiting. You have to write down if you're recruiting. Then like, I take this with me everywhere. Like I take this in my planner with me everywhere. This is my Bible. So like, if I get any downtime with my crazy lifestyle, as soon as I get that downtime, I don't care if it's 1 or 2 people, like I'm messaging these people. And again, it's not always about Scentsy. And I also would like find these people to follow up with, because I'm sorry, it's hard when you have all this stuff to go back in to see when an order's delivered, when you have a whole bunch of orders coming in. So Amy was literally like my lifesaver, like, hey, check up and see how they're liking their order. And I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and follow up with that like real quick. Like those 2 systems really helped me. And I felt like I was always just so, I mean, I am always all over the place. Like I might seem like I got it together, but I promise y'all I don't got it together. Like there's been a couple.
Fake it until you make it, y'all.
Yes.
Saying, like I tell people all the time, if you don't have something, fake it. They don't need to know that this ain't a bathroom cleaner. It's a counter. Like,
yeah.
It's okay to make up a fake order with stock that you have on hand just to go live because you don't have an order showing up right now.
Yep.
Yes. Fake it.
I do that all the time.
When I had COVID in last year, so just this past, almost a year from now in August, I couldn't smell nothing.
Nothing.
Like nothing. That was the weirdest thing too. I was like,
same.
Like, how am I supposed to be a Scentsy consultant, which is literally derived on smell? And like, but I had an issue taking it during that time point, but I was just all
like whenever I had it, I was sick for the good 14 days. I didn't even like post a whole lot on my stories those first few days. I didn't tell a bunch of people I had it, like whatever. I just kind of, but then when I finally started talking about it, I was like, this smells amazing.
I lied. I lost my sense of smell in the middle of transition season from.
And so smelling you had never smelled before.
Yes. But I was like, oh my God, that smells so good. And I'm like, I have no idea what this smells like right now.
Yeah. I tell them all the time. Sometimes you just have to fake it behind the scenes, fake it till you make it. They don't need to know. Build that trust so that they believe you.
Yeah. And not only that, like I use my husband's nose, which was not the best thing. Like literally there was like one time we were on live, and I know this is like off topic, but he's like, this smells like my grandma's bathroom. And I'm like, sir, you can't say that. Like, describe it in a different way. Like I get like that brings that memory to your head. Okay. But what
reminds you of my grandma.
Specifically smell like? Do you smell any florals? Do you smell some roses? Do you smell some citrus? Like what does your grandma's bathroom smell like? What'd you say?
You still want this recording?
Oh, I was gonna say a couple more things, but
No, you're good. I just didn't know if you.
yeah, it's okay. I'll just embarrass my husband on my YouTube channel.
That's all right.
Yeah, he's used to it by now. But like two more things, or like probably three, just because I am who I am. When you said making your bed, like you honestly also don't know who's watching your story and not interacting. Because I know there was one day I went to work and I barely talked about my business at work. I was so scared to mix that. Like I lived in that fear, like, oh my gosh, they're gonna judge me.
Yes.
Yep. And so one of the girls, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I feel like I don't mix that a whole lot, and I'm trying to get past that. Y'all, I'm a hairdresser, like, but I'm like you. I don't know how I talk to people and do all that because I'm totally not going to go out of my way to talk to people. That's not me. I'm like, when I want to be, I will. But I have a hard time doing that too, just because at the end of the day, that is my career. That is paying my bills.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to lose clients over clients thinking, oh, she's a sense, like, yeah. So I have a hard time with that. But once we just like literally start talking, my clients have been my clients for years. So like, they're not gonna do that, but it's still in the back of my head. Like that's another thing I have to work on here. I did sell a Scentsy Fresh today at work. So
Yay! There you go.
Do
you have a booth somewhere or do you do it out of your house?
At a salon, yeah.
At a salon. I would put like a fragrance flower up there and just let it sit there and be pretty.
Oh, we have warmers and stuff. Yeah. I have
okay.
You already got it decked out.
I have that. I just but like I said, it's just that that's one thing I'm working on this year is trying to like I have the perfect. I mean, everybody sits in my chair. Like, why am I don't understand why I'm not doing those things, but I'll get there.
Yeah. And it's a slow process. Like when I had that person come up to me, what's that stuff you be spraying on your bed? And I'm like,
what are you talking about? You didn't know they were watching.
Yeah, I didn't know they were watching. And then it came down to, I started sharing like the last couple months, like I was getting ready to leave, like the last week of school, I had a grab bag, y'all. And I also had like the little Scentsy wish list. And I would tell everybody like, look, you only got a day with this. I'm sorry. So-and-so. If I would have been on top of that, y'all, there would have been more sales. But I was so
scared. Yeah.
I was scared because of that stigma that comes with it. And I love what Amber Ryan says all the time. Like, you have to do it scared. Like, you are not, if you are comfortable or like
growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. That's my favorite.
That one right there. Because if you're in that comfort zone, you're just going to stay in that same area. Like, whether or not you're fine with just doing like $1,000 a month, like, you're not going to get a superstar. Like, you're not going to get to that next level. Like, you have to, and it's y'all, it's scary. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like I said earlier, I have social anxiety, and I know a lot of people, when I talk to them about the joint opportunity, they're like, I can't do what you do. You do lives and stuff. You're just such a social person. And I'm like over there after the live, like I need to woo-saw. And that's like,
you realize that like people don't care if you mess up, if you're fighting it. And that's the thing, like when you realize like that you accidentally said the wrong word and then you just play it off and you're like, wait, that's not what I meant.
Yeah.
People think that that's funny rather than deleting that Instagram story and redoing it. No, girl, just keep saying it because they don't care. They think it's funny. You're real. You're not staged. And when I started realizing that, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna continue to watch myself 20 times before I post it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I know one of the biggest sacrifices I made this year when I like switched that mindset was TV shows. Like, I know everybody, like the hairdresser was like talking to me today and she was like, oh, so have you seen this? And I'm like, girl, like, honestly, I just got out of school. Like, I just finished my job and I kind of want to rewatch like my favorite shows real quick before I start watching the new ones. I stopped TV. Like, I mean, maybe I would watch a movie with my husband, like on our date night, and I know it sucks, but I was like, I have to be so focused right now. Like, my goal was I need to move in 6 months. Like, I need to be at this like thing in 6 months. And it happened before that. And that might not be the case for everybody, but if you have that motivation, and you push outside your comfort zone, that's going to be huge. And I feel like my why is starting to shift because like, okay, I wanted to come home. Well, guess what?
I have to find something else. Yes.
And I kind of found it, and I'm struggling with it already because it's that freedom. Like when I say I went years without seeing people, I did not see somebody that was really close with, like I was close to, like on their deathbed. Because they had been saying that they were going to die for like 9 years. And I was like, she's still kicking. She, she's a badass. Like she ain't going anywhere. And then they were like, oh, she's got 3 weeks left to live. And I'm like, y'all been saying this for 6 months. Like she ain't going nowhere. Like I had all this stuff going on. And that's honestly one of my biggest regrets. And that was kind of one of those motivational factors of, no, you should have went. Like you should have went. And now like it came down to, I was leaving the salon today, and this is like the best example I can give. Like I need to do Happy Meal, y'all. Like, cause we're getting ready to go to SFR. And when I come back from SFR, I'm gonna be back for a couple of days and turn around going camping with no cell service. So I'm also trying to figure out how that's gonna work with the business. And that's like a whole different scenario. But my niece asked me, and she's pregnant, and she's like, could you go with me to my appointment tomorrow? And I'm like, well, I got a team training tomorrow. I really need to get this Happy Meal done. I really need to start packing. I need to get my life together. And I was like, yo, Shea,
Yeah, you gotta go.
you don't have this opportunity. Like life literally flashes by in the blink of an eye. And I spent so long missing those opportunities with my family, my friends, my loved ones. Like I have barely seen 2 of my godchildren, which is about to change. Like, and I have that freedom now. Happy Meal can wait another day. Or you know what I'm about to do is I'm gonna stay up till like 1 o'clock and knock it out. And then I'm gonna wake my butt up at 6 a.m., record my numbers, do my party post, and get on the road to South Carolina to be there at that appointment. So even though I'm home and I've gotten to the point to where I'm a director now, like you're also not going to stop making those sacrifices. Like you are going to move, and you're going to have to keep moving because there is no room in my house for comfortability. Like I do lives everywhere, y'all. I mean, I'm on my couch right now. Usually I am in my office, but our Wi-Fi was a little spotty earlier, and my office is a little spotty anyway. And I was like, we're not gonna risk that. But that's really like the freedom aspect. Like I want to drop stuff and go and see my family and friends. Like I want to be present. I am 27 years old, and all I've done since I was able to work is bust my tail working to achieve something. Because one of the biggest things that drives me is money. Like, and that's a whole different conversation. But that's all I have to say. I don't know if anybody wants to add anything before I end the recording.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. Just find your why, really.
Yeah.
And it can, like I said, it can constantly be changing. Once you find something, mark that off, find something else, mark it off, and keep going.
And I think like
find like, a short term and then a long term. Like you're going to have your long term that's going to take you longer. That's what you're really, really, really working toward. But then have many, many ones in between.
Yep. I think that's huge. I'm like a big goal person. Like I write down my monthly goals down to my weekly, down to my daily. And those like all contribute into those goals. Like, what is my next goal to achieve? Like, I want to pay off this car.
Yeah. Like when Chloe said that to me, now I have for this year, I have a business goals for Scentsy business goals, and then personal goals on my list. And some of them are small and some of them are big. I have to go over there and see if I've checked anything off yet. I haven't done any of that this year, and it is it's there in front of me. I see it. It's literally right here.
And I know another thing that I need to go back and redo, and even though it's like in the middle of June to do it, and I already cried like a little baby, is I wrote a letter to myself at the end of December. Katie Lassiter, I think, said it.
Oh, yes. I wrote a letter too. Yep.
Yep. And I was doing a training with my team, and I was like, I don't know, something called me to open that letter. And I'm sitting there reading that letter out loud to them because literally everything besides one thing in that letter happened. So I have to go back and rewrite it. And I'm just like,
yeah, and that's another thing. I truly believe when you write things down, they're going to happen. Once I start
speak it into existence.
That's how you said the thing about you wanted to hit director by June. I had on my little board over there, I want to hit it by July, and I think it was March. So, I mean,
yeah,
write it down. It's going to happen if it's there and you see
make
it.
sure it's in your face, like to where you do see it on a regular basis. Because the more you see it, you're like, crap, I really want to, sit down and binge watch this show. But you know what I need to do? Sit down and do these follow-ups and talk to some people. And it's not always about sacrifice. I'm saying, I'm like in this process where I'm like, what is too much freedom? Like, is it like every day just checking out of the office a little bit early to go do something with somebody or to take a nap? Yeah, I've taken too many naps in the past 2 weeks. It's like unreal, but that's a whole different thing right there. So, but I think that
earlier and I was mad about it. Like, why did I fall asleep? No. So no, I get you. The consistency with the schedule, especially being at home, it really the consistency with the schedule really does keep you accountable.
And if
Really
you don't have time for a schedule, just
wing it.
Because most
Wing it.
wing it.
I heard that Chloe called you her wing it girl. I see that. Love it.
Like sometimes like I don't have the time that like every day I don't have like a schedule for when I can work the Scentsy stuff because I don't have a schedule like that. So Mondays are my day off. Monday is drop the kids off. That's my day as long as I don't have to like run a few other errands because that's the only time I have the time to do those things also without the kids. But Monday is like I literally have to bust my ass and do all the things on Monday. And then maybe on like a random day during the week, if I happen to get off at like 2 and I still have 2 hours before I have to go and get my kids, then I can do a few other things. But I just don't have a schedule where I can do like all the small things. So like you have to do what also works for your schedule. So I always tell people like, don't get discouraged if you see people saying like, oh, this day needs to be for this and this day needs to be for that. If you have to do everything in one day or on the weekend, you have to do it. I mean,
do it. The only thing I will say, and that was my biggest thing, was trying to navigate that time with like teaching and getting my master's. If like for me, the weekend was better to do all those items. Yeah. And like Tuesdays and Thursdays are usually labeled at that point. It was labeled like I have them as team days now, but during that time period, I had classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5 to 8. So there was no like doing anything on team day. I would still just say, make sure you post in your story once a day. Make sure you post if you have a VIP page once a day. Just take that because it literally takes 5 minutes. And I was just as bad as Sam was. Like I would record it and I would be like, I didn't look like let me fix that. Like, let me do that. And I'm like, literally in the morning, I would like do a quick recording. And as I'm walking out the door, I'm trying to add captions and like post it. Like, you just make sure your people see you. Like they have a crazy life. And honestly, somebody used to call it the Shea Show that they would get on. Like, I haven't watched the Shea Show today. And it's like a little show. Like it's reality TV. It's actual reality TV, not the reality TV that they see. Like life is entertaining and it's crazy. And people will hop on there. Like Sam said, with the whole bat situation, like we'll just like start giving you advice. And that's like another way to connect with people, which is huge.
Yeah. So many people. It's entertaining. I don't see them right now, y'all, but it could be because we're loud on my computer. So
yeah, they're like, these people.
Or they could be out. Maybe I should go outside and see if I see any of them.
Be careful. Watch the staircase thing. So apparently, like, there's a whole theory. Like, okay, hold on. Let me stop recording.